So listen, man, in this next video we're going to get into is about Selena Gomez. Listen, this world is a cruel, cruel place. And I think social media hasn't done nothing but to amplify that and make it much worse. In this video, she gives pushback on the body shaming attacks she's received. All right, if you're new, subscribe, join the family. Let's check this out.
It's really weird. I don't live a normal life. I do normal things.
Candid and revealing words from Selena Gomez.
I lied. I would go online and I would post a picture of myself and I would say, it doesn't matter. I'm not accepting what you're saying. All the while being in the room posting them, crying my eyes out because nobody deserves to hear those things.
The entertainer opening up in a new Apple TV Plus episode of Dear, once again using her fame to humanize mental health struggles.
Let you go.
Of course, the world knows her more like this.
Look at her now.
From sultry hits like Look at Her Now,
So are you in?
Yeah.
to co-starring with comedy legends Steve Martin and Martin Short on Hulu's hit Only Murders in the Building.
Well, you know, who are we without a homicide?
I'm Selena Gomez, and I really love to eat.
And there's also her HBO Max show, Selena Plus Chef.
Ah! I heard it. Sorry.
The 30-year-old Texan is the most followed woman on Instagram at
Dang, 399 million, bro. Yeah. With that many people following you, you have to know that everybody's that's following you doesn't have good intentions. And they wake up each day with nothing on their mind but to figure out a way to get under your skin and make you mad. You gotta know that, you know what I mean? Sometimes you just can't look at the comments, bro, because we're human. It'll get to you.
199 million followers.
Wow.
But with all this attention, Selena says she still struggles mightily behind otherwise picture-perfect images. In the Apple TV Plus docuseries, the artist and businesswoman shares how medications to help treat her lupus caused weight gain, which she says fueled online criticism about her body.
Though I was posting these things saying, it doesn't bother me, because I didn't want it to bother other people who are experiencing the same thing. Getting shamed for what they look like, who they are, who they love. I just think it's so unfair. I don't think that anybody deserves to feel less than.
One thing
You know what's crazy, though? A lot of people, if you click on some of the comments, it's usually a person that don't even have a picture up. Or it could be some type of fake account that they use to just troll people. Like, it's never a lot. I ain't gonna say never, but a lot of times it's not even people that want to show themselves. They're insecure about themselves. You see it as just like just a silhouette. It's not even a picture of something. It's just that. Like, you get that and you be like, man, this person ain't even, he talking about me. He or she is talking about me, but won't even show themselves. Like, it's crazy.
Selena's really doing in this moment is normalizing her experience for a lot of other people. I've been seeing a lot of other women who have had lupus struggles talk about this openly on social media. They're coming forward and sharing their experiences because of what Selena Gomez is talking about.
Selena has long been outspoken about protecting her mental health. I spoke with her last year about launching the multimedia company Wondermind, along with her mother, Mandy Teffy, and business partner, Daniela Pearson. Its mission? To destigmatize mental health and share coping methods, large and small.
I love the rare reminders that I've read about with your sticky notes.
It could be quotes, it can be something that I need to validate my...
See, that's fire. Hold on.
With your sticky notes.
It could be
Don't let anyone dim your light.
quotes, it can be something that I need to
If you are broken, you do not have to stay broken.
validate my feelings with, maybe something along the lines of like, today you are enough. I'll put it visually somewhere and I'll keep it there until that's like in my mind.
She also told me about the power of stepping away from social media and giving her team the reins.
I haven't been on the internet in 4.5 years.
Wow.
What does that do to detox your life?
It has changed my life completely.
For the better, I
I
bet.
am happier. I am more present. I connect more with people. It makes me feel normal.
Selena is not alone. A recent study found that
Could y'all do it? Could y'all step away from social media for that long? Could you? it's crazy to think that how much we rely on social media and the internet. You know what I mean? It's a big part of our lives. But bro, if you need to take a break, do that. It's okay. It'll be right back there with the same gossip, the same meanness in the comment section, same cruel people, the same this and that, the same everything. Trust me, it'll be right there waiting on you. You ain't going nowhere.
Teens and young adults who reduced their social media use by 50% for just a few weeks saw significant improvement in how they felt about both their weight and their overall appearance. At the beginning of the year, Selena shared that she returned to social media, writing, "Wait, can you tell I'm back on Instagram?" And in a series of posts from the past month, Selena is sharing selfies where she appears to be makeup-free. In one, writing, quote, "Me."
I think Selena really realized her significance in the social media space. You know, she's talked about the idea that she loves being able to talk with her fans and that she sees what her effect has done with her fans. And I think that's so important and so smart of her to have that realization.
The star is one of many celebrities who've spoken out against body shaming.
It's like it doesn't matter how much positive energy you put into the world, you're still gonna have people who have something mean to say about you.
In 2021, singer-songwriter Lizzo shared her pain live during an intimate and emotional message on Instagram after receiving fat-phobic comments and racism from internet trolls.
I don't mind critique about me, my music. I don't even mind the fat comments, you know? I just feel like it's unfair sometimes, the treatment that people like me receive.
But, you know, at some point you have to draw the line and say...
I know what y'all about to say. This happened way back. You know what I mean? We're looking at an interview that took place a minute back. I know what y'all about to reference in the comment section right now because she is all over the headlines with what's going on in that situation. But we still got to see how that plays out.
Shaming someone's body is not okay. Racism is not okay.
Thank you. We as a society have normalized cruelty and to a point where we have internalized cruelty and people are like, don't let them see you with your head down. Sis, my head is always up. Even when I'm upset and even when I'm crying, my head is up. But I know it's my job as an artist to reflect the times, and this should not fly.
Celebrities absolutely can help change the culture. I don't think that people want perfection out of celebrities anymore. I think they want celebrities that they can see themselves in. If Selena Gomez goes through it and she has a bad day, I too can have a bad day. I can be okay. I can recover because she's doing it in front of almost 400 million people every day.
A lot going on the West Coast over the weekend. Negotiators failing to reach a deal on Friday between the Hollywood studios and the Screenwriters Union, but the summer box office continued to outperform. Barbie crossing the $1 billion mark in global receipts on Sunday, and this past weekend's new releases, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Meg 2, outperforming opening estimates as well, marking the first big films to open without promotion from striking actors. So that's an interesting component to all of this. For more, I want to bring in Matt Bellany, founding partner at Puck News. It's great to see you, Matt. Read last night's newsletter, or into this morning, of course. Help us understand what happened on Friday and what comes next.
Well, it was a setback. There was some optimism heading into this meeting because it was the first time that the Writers Guild and the studios have met since the writers went on strike in early May. And it did not go well. There was some name calling before the meeting. They did meet, but the outcome there was basically we're back to square one. The writers introduced a couple of new asks. They wanted the right to continue to...
Have y'all been seeing some of the remarks that have been spewed out of it? This is getting pretty nasty, by the way. Let's just call a spade, and it is what it is. This is getting nasty. I've seen a few things where people have been saying, oh, well, how about you hold on to this strike until you lose your home and stuff like that. I was like, word? Like, y'all really going this deep and cutting this low? Like, it's getting nasty. And I guess you should expect that in negotiations and back and forths and stuff like that. But just to see it play out and hear people wish bad upon people, wish people's downfall like that, I just can never rock with that. You know what I mean? But that's just me personally.
Strike with the Screen Actors Guild, which is also on strike, even if they make a deal. They wanted some additional healthcare asks, and they basically said, we are not going to budge on some of the core issues involving residuals, involving the writer's room. They want ads made to the writer's room. And the studio side was basically like, we're willing to give on a couple of things, but there are some non-starters for us. We're not going to do a success metric, which is like a transparency metric. They don't want to open up their books to the writers, and a couple of other things that they just said, we're not willing to go there. So they basically broke it off, and we'll see this week if they agreed to actually continue negotiating. And if not, we could be in for the long haul here.
So what does that mean? What does this look like if it plays out and they say no deal? We can't come to an agreement and this thing continues to drop. What is the long-term effects we're going to see from this? What is that? I think that's what I'm searching for in all of this. What this can potentially look like if they don't come to the deal. And it looks like right now, cooler heads aren't prevailing. So
here are if you were to look at the fault lines, but look at the fault lines where there's an opportunity for compromise, and you've written about this, where do you see them?
The compromise here, I mean, the money issues are somewhat doable. Money can solve everything, they say, but the money issues, I think, are doable here. It's these fundamental issues like transparency, where the writers want access to books. They want to see that their shows are making money and that are delivering viewers. And that's something where the streamer components, particularly Netflix, Amazon, Apple, they just don't do that. They don't want to set the precedent of allowing these guilds to see the inner metrics of their companies. And that's a real hard one to bridge. And I do think that these issues of the writer's room, where the writers want commitments to staff the writer's room with 6, 8, 10 writers. They don't want these situations where there's one writer doing an entire show. They want commitments that there will be writers hired for these shows. And the studios are like, we're not going to commit to hiring writers when we don't necessarily need them. So those are the more kind of fundamental issues where I think that they are going to have problems. The compromise is going to be on the money.
Okay, so Matt, I'm looking at the calendar. We're on August 7th. I think there was a sense, at least among some in Hollywood, that maybe you could get a deal by Labor Day. And then the question, of course, is, do you do that concurrently with the actors? Does the actors come after that? Does this then push into the end of September, into October? Where do you see this really going in terms of looking now at a calendar and a true timeline? Because it will have a massive knock-on effect as you get out into not just, what we see on the air this fall, but more importantly, what you see next spring and summer.
Absolutely, and that's the real fear. The studios are losing out on these summer movies potentially if this strike continues to go. Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav said last week they were anticipating Labor Day, that this will be resolved. I've been sort of similar, where I think that early to mid-September, they will get a deal with first the writers and then the actors, or potentially vice versa if this does not work out. I think this week is key. If they do not continue to negotiate on the writer's side this week, then they're going to break. They're not going to negotiate for weeks, and that's going to set everything back. The guilds have been going one by one. The studios have been negotiating it one at a time. So I think if they don't get a deal with the writers here, they'll probably end up going back to the actors. But the actors have been equally, if not more, forceful in their demands, and the rhetoric coming out of Fran Drescher and the actors has been pretty incendiary. So I don't know that if the studios expect to go in there and get concessions from these guilds, I don't know that they're going to get them anytime soon.
Do you see any break happening either among the writers themselves, who may be, there's a lot of folks obviously are going to start to struggle to pay their rent. I know that's probably strategically something some of the studios had been banking on in terms of breaking them for a compromise. Similarly on the actor side, or flip it around, is there any break even between some of the studios?
Well, the interesting question there. On the guild side, there has been remarkable solidarity on the guild side. This is the first strike of the social media era, and the writers and actors have used social media to galvanize their membership. And there's been this cheerleading effect where they're all in it together. Now, keep in mind that these are very unique unions and that the majority of the membership don't actually work at a given time. This is not like, auto workers or restaurant workers where everyone is on the same level and they're all fighting for better conditions on the job. The Screen Actors Guild in particular, very small number of these members actually work. So the people that voted for this strike aren't actually the ones that are working at a given time. So that creates a very interesting dynamic, as well as the income disparity within the guild. You're in these Actors Guild. Right. Tom Cruise is a member, and your average member is barely making enough money to get insurance. Most of the members.
That's what I keep hearing. Like, that is wild to think of. You know what I mean? It took me a long time. I think as I got older, I started to realize. But as a kid, I would think, or as a young one, I would think, as soon as I saw somebody on TV, I assumed, okay, they made it. They made it. And it's not necessarily like that. It's a case-by-case situation. It all depends on what type of contracts they sign, residuals, all kind of stuff that goes into play. So you don't just automatically see somebody and think they've hit it big. It don't work like that. So some of these people are struggling to have insurance, bro. That's like, when you think about insurance, you think of, man, this is like food, water, place to live, clothes on my back, something to get to work, insurance. Like that's under that umbrella of things that the necessities of life that you need. This is insane to hear.
In the teens, don't even make enough money in a year to get insurance coverage. So I think that there is potential there for differences in opinion there. On the studio side, obviously, Disney has very different concerns than Comcast or Netflix or Amazon or Apple. These are very different businesses with different agendas that only come together in the AMPTP, this coalition, in order to negotiate labor deals. So they have their own issues on their side of getting on the same page if they're ever going to make a deal here.
State of emergency in Hawaii. New video shows wildfires moving quickly across western Maui. Hurricane-charged winds are making it nearly impossible to battle at least 5 separate fires, including one that did move through a Maui neighborhood. 911 service and cell service has gone down in parts of that island. Officials describe a dire situation as hospitals are overwhelmed with patients suffering burns and smoke injuries. Now, Kate spoke to a man who shot video of a fire encroaching on his West Maui town. He described it as a wall of fire engulfing buildings on both sides of the street. He said he does not expect his homes to survive.
Man.
One of my houses definitely caught fire. The other houses are each a block away, and I did not see them burn, but I recognize there is a very good chance that they are not there anymore. Both of them were.
See the wind? That's what's making it worse right there. And that's going to be hard to keep it contained because of the wind is going to cause it to continue to spread like that, man. Pray for Hawaii right now, bro. I heard they were diving in the water. In the water. Pray for them, man.
Completely covered in smoke. When I went, after I started to evacuate, I went back to just check to see if the house was on fire or not. It wasn't, but I was standing at the street looking at my house, and I couldn't see my whole house because of the smoke. But the smoke was coming from another property that was a few buildings away. And then I went down to Front Street right after that and wanted to check on my gallery. I've had a gallery in the center of Front Street for 23 years. And as I began walking that way, there's a historic building on Front Street in Dickinson, the old Baldwin House. The roof was on fire, and I started taking a video of it because I was amazed that there were no fire trucks there. And then as I turned and looked down Front Street exploded in flame.
Yeah, that thing is rolling.
Just remarkable pictures there. And earlier we also spoke with a Hawaiian official who told us that these fires are not at all under control. CNN's Derek Van Dam, you could see him.
Yeah, you could look at that and tell. Wasn't no water being pretty much applied in the area that we can see, because you could look at the smoke and tell. But it still had that black dinginess to it, and it didn't look like anybody was putting anything on it. So they're probably still trying to evacuate people. Life is the first thing you want to prioritize anyway in a situation like that, getting people evacuated, and then you can set your focus on the fire. But yeah, man, this is hard. This is tough to watch.
He is with us now. Derek, not at all under control. You know, what hope is there to turn the corner against these fires?
Well, we've got a tough 12 hours ahead. My producers and I just checked on the current conditions on Maui. Winds are gusting to 66 miles per hour within the past hour. So clearly still funneling and fueling some of these flames. So what you're looking at, and the video you saw directly before me, is from Lahaina on the western side of Maui. You got to understand that this is the economic hub of Maui. This is where residents go. This is where tourists or residents live. This is where tourists go to vacation. You know, with 20% of the island without power, this is a significant event for the island of Maui, and it's not just Maui, it's also Hawaii. We've learned just in the past couple of hours, emergency declarations being issued by the Lieutenant Governor of Hawaii for the Big Island. From that burn scar you start to see, or this hot spot you see on this satellite imagery. Also interesting to note, you can see the direction of the smoke just pushing the wildfire smoke away from Maui and into the open ocean, the Pacific Ocean. This is showing you just how strong the winds actually are. So what's taking place here? Why are we getting these strong winds over the Hawaiian Islands? It's all thanks to this kind of pressure squeeze between the high pressure to the north and a passing hurricane to the south. That's Hurricane Dora, and it's putting the squeeze on the Hawaiian Islands, and what that's doing is creating wind gusts in excess of 80 miles per hour. That's equivalent to a Category 1 Atlantic hurricane.
Jeez.
Wind advisories and red...
Y'all see that? I don't know who got that view.
Per hour, that's equivalent to a Category 1 Atlantic hurricane. Wind advisories and red flag warnings are in place for the entire Hawaiian Island chain, and similar to what we experienced in Southern California with Santa Ana winds, we are having this wind come up and over mountaintops. Very simple thermodynamic processes at play here. As that wind rushes over the mountains and through the canyons, it dries out, it heats up, and it also increases the wind. So until this hurricane and this high pressure move away from the Hawaiian Islands, we will see these winds, these very dry, hot winds that create these timberbox conditions, continue.
Man, listen, again, man, y'all pray for Hawaii, bro. Stuff is tough out here, man. I'm gone.